Debutantes in the competition. It is 80 San Carlos, the Toros of the north of Costa Rica, taking on NYCFC of the United States and Major League Soccer. Mike Watson, Tony Miola with you. 73 degrees. It's a humid night in Costa Rica, but overall conditions just fine. This game being played away from the typical home of San Carlos, as will be the case next week with NYCFC playing away at Red Bull Arena. Look at the bracket on the whole, and San Carlos and NYCFC have already seen a major upset. Alianza over Tigres in the opening game in the round of 16. All eyes now on this one tonight. Concacaf Champions League, round of 16. From Costa Rica, it is San Carlos and NYCFC. Mike Watts, former U.S. men's national team goalkeeper Tony Miola alongside. Tony, neither of these teams have played in Champions League. International competition has been fleeting for San Carlos going back to the 1960s. NYCFC, a rather new franchise. Both have something significant to play for tonight. This is one of the bigger games for both sides in their history.
Well, no doubt about it. And one of these teams, keep in mind, hasn't played a competitive game in 2020, and that's NYCFC. But certainly under a new manager, Ronnie Dyla, he'll be looking for something special tonight. It's a talented NYCF side, a side that finished first in the Eastern Conference in Major League Soccer last year. Gets knocked out of the playoffs, but now they get to start all over again here against San Carlos.
That's how they qualified. Eastern Conference title winners in the regular season for 80 San Carlos. They defeated Saprissa on away goals in the 2019 Clausura final. No team from the north of Costa Rica had ever won the league. So what they've done already is magnificent. That led them to Concacaf League and now into this. This is a much bigger spotlight perhaps than they're used to.
No doubt about it. When you win, you're expected now to move forward and advance and get better as a group. And as you mentioned, they're debutantes in this competition. They want to do something. Of course, when we think about Costa Rican football, there's one team that comes to mind for sure, and that's Saprissa. And there's a couple others as well, Herediano, Luense. But it's a side that has struggled of late. Right? Now, no wins here in the last 6 matches, and Luis Marin, their manager, under a little bit of pressure right now. No one really knew if he was going to make it to this stage of the competition, but he's here, and he's got a very formidable task against NYCFC.
And these NYCFC fans that did make the trip out have already plastered some third rail stickers onto this stadium, trying to make it just a little bit more their own.
Make your mark while you're there.
They've got over 100 fans, we were told, at least, making their way down as sanctioned fans from NYCFC. And, you know, the tough thing about this, it's going to be the same in Harrison, New Jersey next week. Neither team is playing in their official home. Neither were able to satisfy all of the expectations of CONCACAF. They said that both teams were extraordinarily proactive throughout the process, and yet both teams have to be a bit out of their comfort zone. No one's happy about it. It's just reality.
Well, I think when you look at it from a playing standpoint, okay, the locker room's a little bit different. The travel to the stadium is a little bit different. You think you're at home, but it's really not home. But quite honestly, when the referee blows the whistle, it's a soccer ball and a couple of lines, and you've got to play. And I think they will adjust. It won't be a problem. It's probably more of a distraction from the outside than it is from a playing standpoint.
Yeah, the irony, of course, NYCFC has never had a great run of form at Red Bull Arena. The same can be said about San Carlos away to Alajuelense, one of the bigger clubs in Costa Rica. San Carlos making the trip down. You look into the value of this first leg, however, Tony, and NYCFC hasn't played competitive match in so long. San Carlos has gone 6 on the bounce without a victory. You almost have to wonder which team needs this more. It feels like they can both argue they do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I say the same thing about away sides as I say in any two-legged competition. Get yourself back home. Keep yourself in the competition. We saw last night with Montreal, they go 2 up. 2-0 up against a good Saprissa side, and they end up drawing 2-2. And it may feel like a loss, but when you go home, you say, well, we got 2 away goals. We go back to Montreal. We're in this tie. We'll look at NYCFC. Again, keep yourself in the tie. You don't want to lose the tie in the first leg of the competition. But again, this is a very talented NYCFC side. They've got very good attacking players. They're very organized. Preseason, from all indication, has been very good. So this should be a side, okay, it's first game, first competitive game. We've talked about that almost ad nauseum for MLS sides, what it means the time of year. I think this will be an NYCFC side that will be ready to play tonight.
Out is Torrent, in comes Ronnie Dyla, the 44-year-old Norwegian, taking the helm of one of Major League Soccer's most impressive clubs a year ago, finishing first in the Eastern Conference in the regular season. That qualified them directly into the tournament, while Costa Rican side San Carlos, debutants in their own right, waiting for 50-plus years for the opportunity, 5th overall in the Concacaf League table, as they were the best-ranked losing quarterfinalist, which is a mouthful, but both qualifying as impressive clubs in their home countries domestically and into the bigger stage of the international game. Surely the players in the locker rooms and making their way into the tunnel, they're excited about this opportunity for a wide range of reasons.
Well, there's nothing like international competition. I don't care if it's the national team level. This is great at the club level. And as you mentioned, they're both debutants. We keep talking about it. How exciting is this? I'm looking at these fans. We saw the NYCFC traveling fans just before. They're part of history here for the club. It's such a great night. And two sides, and we mentioned San Carlos, a team that has struggled over the last couple months. Other than the last 10 minutes of their last game, they were down 3-0. Luis Marin, the manager, in trouble a little bit, under pressure. They come back and they draw 3-3 on the weekend. They find a way to score 3 goals late. So maybe that's the momentum that they needed for NYCFC. I think early on what you want to do is just find a little rhythm in the game, right? Find moments that you worked on in preseason that you can see play out for a little while in that first half. I think you'll start to feel comfortable.
San Carlos and NYCFC take the field in Alajuela, Costa Rica for their round of 16 first leg matchup in Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. San Carlos at home to take on New York City Football Club. Welcome to coverage of the 2020 Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. It's the round of 16, leg number 1, with Tony Miola, Mike Watts on hand, and the lineup for San Carlos is going to be missing a significant name that many in Major League Soccer certainly hope to see again in Alvaro Saborio. But Patrick Pemberton is available, one of the more interesting storylines for Luis Marin.
Yeah, the 37-year-old Costa Rican international starts in goal. Carlos Acosta will captain this side. Randy Chirino will offer them some speed wide. Leo Cruz and Germán Aguilar, the 25-year-old Panamanian, start up top.
Group that comes off a thrilling 3-3 draw at Arellano. Urgently, they said they needed points. They were down 3 goals after 63 minutes, came back for a draw. Captains meeting, Carlos Acosta and Alex Ring. Cesar Ramos of Mexico, a veteran of 3 matches at the 2018 FIFA World Cup, the 2017 FIFA Club World Cup final, also part of Champions League in both Asia and Concacaf previously. Starting lineup for New York City Football Club, first 11 picked by Ronnie Dyla.
Yeah, he gets his first chance here. Looks like a 4-2-3-1. The 30-year-old international Sean Johnson starts in goal. Ronald Matarrita, a little bit of a homecoming for him. You mentioned Alexander Ring that will captain this side. Ever, 15 goals in 22 appearances, starts up top.
The New York City Football Club bench looks on. Ronnie Dyla walking in, talking about the excitement, saying if we show up, we can go far in this tournament. We'll look at the available substitutes. Maxi Morales has dealt with a calf injury over the course of preseason, does not start.
Yeah, he's the one guy that sticks out on an NYCFC bench. Should they need some energy in the attack for sure.
Omar Brownie was on loan to Montreal a year ago, so eyes on him for San Carlos. History in the making. First Champions League match for San Carlos and NYCFC. Underway from Alajuela in Costa Rica. Ring. Pemberton.
This is some early pressure here by NYCFC. Almost picking one off there. Luis Marin looks like he's coming out in his 4-4-2. We've seen this throughout Concacaf League. But again, they have struggled of late, this side. They haven't been able to put things together for very long during matches. I like the idea by Ronnie Dyla to put some early pressure on. Don't allow the home side to get into a rhythm.
There's Ronnie Dyla. 44 years old from Norway, contacted right before Christmas, interrupted his vacation, and in late December started talking with NYCFC about a future there, taking over from Dome Toron. Meza bypasses Eber. Sanchez gliding past Tinnerholm, this all the way through, and knocked away from Ramirez.
Disjointed here early on. NYCFC, a direct ball over the top down the left flank. San Carlos able to get a cross off.
San Carlos played 5 in the back against Arellano. Don't look that way to start. Cruz tries to find his way through.
Call for a handball here, but again, a simple ball over the top. This time Cruz finding an inch of space in between 2 defenders. You see Tinnerholm to the left. Chanot there, and there you see the handball. Maybe got off the hook a bit easy there, NYCFC. Something to maybe look for as a theme for San Carlos. 2 balls over the top now have been fairly dangerous.
At the feet of Sands, the 19-year-old whose star may really rise this year. Some injuries held him back stages last year. Eber, excellent ball back. Parks, race for it. Excellent save. Medina denied by Pemberton.
This all started with a great run. So Eber kind of crawling across the line there. Pointed, wanted the ball in between two defenders, gets it, was first to it. Good cross in. Keaton Parks couldn't get to it. This is the end result here. It's out here to Medina. Well done by Pemberton to read the danger, get out and smother Medina before he can get a good shot off and make the play. All started with that run from Eber.
Knocked wide. There's room up on the left-hand side. Monterita. Eber. Eber delivers. Park still over the top. Somehow the flag stayed down, and somehow New York City unable to capitalize.
Now once again, here, Mike, it's a ball over the top. Eber gets on the end of it. Look at the run in behind the defender. It's the right center back. He may have been offside there. He's able to get a shot off, gets to Parks. There was no flag up. He had the whole goal to look at, two defenders in front of him closing, but you can see from that angle he had more than enough to shoot at. Two good opportunities early here for NYCFC.
And a reminder to those who are just catching the CCL fever now, no VAR in this tournament, so there was no chance that could be looked at, whether it ended up being a goal or not. Pemberton, simple play out. Longtime goalkeeper for Alajuelense. This was his home ground for over a decade.
This is nice pressure here again by NYCFC to pick another one off in the first third here.
Monterita with the overlap. Matriza.
And this time here it's Medina from the opposite side making a diagonal run in between the defender.
Eber in the line of fire. Brennis over to collect. Played twice in the Concacaf League tournament that ultimately allowed San Carlos into Champions League for the first time. 6 teams from Concacaf League, which ran in the fall of last year, earned qualification into Champions League this year.
Looks like here defensively it's a 4-5-1, which translates easily into a 4-3-3 when you go into the attack. You ask those wing players to do a little bit more work in deeper positions for NYCFC.
Medina initially helped to displace it. Tinnerholm.
Looks like he slipped on that one and was looking to go longer up top. Maybe Keaton Parks or Alexander Ring, who was making a run in behind the back four.
Brennis making a run of his own, slipping in behind. Aguilar. Ball hit toward the penalty spot, toward Cruz. Cleared by NYCFC.
So the danger has been balls over the top so far for San Carlos, giving NYCFC in this back four some issues at the moment.
Good hold-up play and a turning rip from Cruz. Lifted over. The former Monterrey player only played 4 times in League MX's 4th club in Costa Rica.
Cruz does a good job of holding up and quick little turn. Couldn't steer it on frame. Nicely done.
Ball stripped for a moment. It is with San Carlos. In listening to the coaching staff from San Carlos, they described the 2 preseason games against foreign competition that NYCFC played as what they looked at to try and get a read on what Ronnie Dyla was looking to do as the new manager.
Yeah, and to look at games from last year is probably irrelevant to them. They obviously know the individuals. They can learn something there. But from a tactical standpoint, certainly want to watch what the new manager is doing.
Smith couldn't get the cross away. This will be a goal kick in the end.
Nice job of defending there by Matarita.
Told he's got plenty of family here. 4 years at Alajuelense playing at this ground. He grew up about an hour away from Alajuela's main soccer facility here.
I guess is when you ask around, you could probably get a few tickets from your teammates that aren't being used.
Medina off the bounce. Parks, the slip by Ring, Eber out wide. This looks good, Tinnerholm.
Well, that's good interchanging play by NYCFC. 30 yards from goal before it gets wide. In, back, and through.
Tinnerholm. That's an excellent turn from Medina. Ball in front. Pemberton dives out.
Well, nice combination play down the flank here. Tinnerholm, good cross. Had a target in front of the goal. Pemberton clean. So he came out and smothered that one.
Sands. Upfield by Ring, and now lofted over for Eber, ushered through by Parks.
One thing you're noticing here from Ronnie Dyla's side is they do get numbers forward. It's been a staple of this NYCFC side since their inception here. It's no different here under Ronnie Dyla.
And he talked about it. There is an element of you want to keep a consistent style and have that be New York City's style, as opposed to simply cleaning house and starting over every time you get a new coach.
Yeah, it's really difficult to do that for sure. You've been given a stable of players here that play in a certain way. Your job as a manager is always to get the best out of the players, put them in positions to succeed as much as possible. But I don't think over the years anyone has complained about NYCFC style and getting forward and the way that they like to interpret the game. As we see a foul on the end of it here. Cruz just late on the tackle. Back to NYCFC, they've always been an entertaining team to watch. They're a team that are easy on the eye if you like the ball on the deck, and they've always had talented players. No reason to change that part of the game. You may have your little tweaks about where you want positionally guys to go, how you want to make some runs, but again, that style stays the same.
Ball played through the two center backs. Sneaks all the way back to Sean Johnson, who's had a very quiet start. Dyla referred to it like religion. There's 100 different ways to goal, and only LAFC found more of those ways to goal last year than NYCFC did.
Yeah, they like to attack, which obviously when you throw numbers forward, you put pressure on your goalkeeper. And Sean Johnson has gotten better and better since he's gotten to NYCFC. The biggest improvement with him, and I've spoken to him personally about it, is his feet, his ability to play with his feet. When he got here, he wasn't good, and Patrick Vieira, when he first took over, said this has got to be a staple for you. You've got to be able to help us in the back, and he took pride in it. And we're hearing word at the national team level that they're happy with his ability to play with his feet there as well.
Eber in pursuit. Claudio Reyna, who left the club over the offseason, described him as one of the best goalkeepers in MLS when they acquired him. He's only added to it. Ball for Eber. Eber a touch! First international goal for NYCFC. And he's picked up right where he left off.
Well, the man knows how to score goals. You can almost see this coming here, as there were a couple opportunities just prior to this. The NYCFC came close as they got the ball wide here, and it's a nice ball played in. It's like Matarrita out wide. And look at the run in between two center backs for Eber. They fall asleep. He finds an inch of space. A great ball curled in behind. Eber first to it. Pemberton moving his feet, can't get set. He sneaks it in near post, 1-0. NYCFC, well-deserved goal here. Great combination play, good cross, good run, and good finish.
Ever impacting NYCFC like a lightning strike last year, a point where he had scored in 5 appearances running in June and July. 15 goals, and you can't replace a guy who simply has a knack to score.
No, and there was the fear of the unknown.
Sanchez slid away by Chanot.
Remember, they lost David Villa, and everyone wanted to know where were the goals going to come from, and Eber came in, and he has been outstanding, as you said, for NYCFC.
Meanwhile, David Villa moves across the bridge over to Queensboro FC after a stint at Vissel Kobe. An executive now. Corner here for San Carlos. Snapped away, Chirino. Matarrita is there. The assist in his former home stadium. First time back home for a game in 5 years. That leaked out.
Yeah, it must be exciting for him to get back here. See his family. He talked about it in the press conference yesterday, how excited he was, how much this stadium meant to him in his career.
A poorly hit switch goes blazing by Tinnerholm. Torino out, Jose David Sanchez. Pleasant ball, knocked away by Aguilar. And this will be a corner over NYCFC's objection. They say it hit off the small of his neck.
Yeah, I think this went off the back of Matarrita as it was headed down. I'll have a look here at the back post. Yeah, there you see it off the back of Matarrita's neck. Good job by the referee.
Service again, this overcooked. Got away from Matarrita. Has to work off on the right-hand side now off the help. Cruz. Eber. It's a foot race. And Matriza continuing to hammer away at it. Pemberton.
Nice job by Matriza here, just putting pressure on, allowing them to play, only allowing them to play back to the goalkeeper. Now they turn it over. This all started from Matriza's work down this right touchline.
Down goes Ring.
You're about at that point, 15, 20 minutes into the game now, your first game of 2020. You start to feel the rust shaking off a little bit. NYCFC's done a pretty good job so far of being organized. Just those couple balls over the top early on that gave them a few issues, but when the ball turns over, they look very comfortable on the ball.
And they're continuing to ping it around. Matriza. Eber was looking to get the flick.
Alexander Ring in the middle of the field, and he's playing a little more advanced position here for Ronnie Dyla, but just watching him play game in and game out, he's one of those players that just does everything right.
The dummy didn't come off from Ring.
When he gets touches, a clear understanding of what he wants to do, where he wants to go next.
And now San Carlos with their head up. Quickly denied, but Mana fouled from behind. Cruz went down and tried to give advantage. It wasn't there. Free kick for San Carlos.
The referee's going to have a conversation here just to calm things down. Keaton Parks too aggressive behind Cruz. You see it just late coming from behind. Cruz makes a little bit of a meal of it in the end, I think, but certainly one the referees forced to call.
Esteban Ramirez could choose to lay this off, has a couple options. Instead, floats. Will accept a corner. Ramirez over again. 9 years at Arellano, 5 times a champion there, 9 times a champion overall. His 19th appearance in Concacaf club competition. Ramirez. Falls Sanchez.
Well, good job of clearing the ball here, but you got to have someone at the top of the box to deal with that second one. Left-footed shot goes over the bar. Certainly don't want to leave players open at the top of your box.
Chirino able to help keep it. Mana. Sought out Aguilar. Ring. There's Ring again. Dicing through. Medina. Stares down Eber, but Medina will have a go! And missed.
Wow.
Medina, who did score, we were told, in their most recent closed-door scrimmage before the match.
This is not off by much here, and nor does he need much space, Medina, as he's so difficult for defenders. When an inverted winger cuts across the top of the box, he's a left-footed player. It's tough for a defender to get to the ball when it's on his left foot in that position, and he didn't need much space to pull the trigger, and didn't miss that far post by much.
Dissecting ball, working down the left-hand flank. Good tap inward, back toward Eber. And suddenly New York City arriving with waves of pressure.
Yeah, and you see how many numbers they had in the box here as Matarrita was the first one there. He makes that little cut in behind the defender. They're able to get 4 players in and around the box. Medina at that back post. He was moving from midfield as soon as the ball was played, trying to get to that back post.
Down to Medina. Chirino. And now Cruz. Clever cut wide. Cruz 1v1 against Matarrita. Now Cruz delivers.
You have an idea there, Cruz, what he wants to do when he gets you 1v1. He wants to take you, try and get the defender backpedaling a little bit. Looked like he had Matarrita beat. He cut to his right foot, but couldn't bend it back into a danger area. Hits it over the bar. A quick glimpse of the talent that he has.
NYCFC can't handle the pressure, largely a mistake of their own volition. Chirino with a drive. Johnson puts it over.
Well, you mentioned it, a mistake. I don't know that ball was meant to be played to Keaton Parks. It had some heat on it, but it ends up getting turned over, and Chirino bounces up nicely for him. Sean Johnson is a yard or two off his line here, so it's got some dip and makes no mistake with two hands.
Corner quickly knocked away. Acosta. Ramirez. Ball knotted away by Cruz.
Well, this was a dangerous one here. Cruz gets in front of Chanot on this cross. Collins makes the initial clearance on the corner kick. They push out, ball gets wide, and we'll see him here sneak in between two defenders. Yeah, it is Chanot. He's got two players there. And boy, that's a clear header for Cruz, and he doesn't get it right, obviously.
San Carlos refusing to allow NYCFC comfort in that defensive third to pass the ball around and build from the back.
Well, I think you talked about watching those two videos, so you get a clear idea of how they want to play. They're going to build out of anything. It's sort of the MO for NYCFC, if you will, and they're comfortable in those positions. And this is still the part of the season where you're going to see some turnovers. Maybe the spacing is not always right. Maybe the touch isn't perfect. This is nicely done here by James Sands, the youngster. Change of play, get comfortable on the ball. Now you've broken that initial part of pressure to get in the middle third of the field here. And Medina sitting in that pocket of space right in front of Chanot, but they go long.
It's been dynamite so far from Matarrita. Still alive off that curling ball. It's Ring. Tritza goes back. Matarrita.
And look at Eber just inching to get in that box, waiting for that perfect angle.
And a heavy touch. If he had corralled that, had options.
He was looking for that cross. I think there was an option or two prior to that touch.
Advantage played off the handball. Mena. Couldn't split the defense. Eber and Medina making the run. Laid on further, with the offside flag raised against Matriza.
Matriza just a little anxious there. The coordination wasn't perfect. We'll get a view here. Yeah, you can see him just creep offside. He's trying to put the brakes on there for a second, but he didn't get the timing right.
Of Callens. Tinnerholm. There's pressure toward Johnson.
It's a nice ball played out here. Left-footed by Sean Johnson to relieve a little bit of pressure.
Ring. Matriza. Blue shirts flooding forward. Ball toward Medina with Eber close to it. You and I were both looking at that back post run. It just didn't look like he hit it right.
Yeah, good job by Medina once again to get on his horse and try and get in the box. He was about 50 yards away. The quality of the ball wasn't there, but starting to get an idea and watching NYCFC what Ronnie Dyla wants. Alexander Ring in the middle of the field as we see the foul here. Once again, Cruz drawing a foul on Collins. Not much in it, but he recognizes a little bit of pressure. Draws the foul.
It's Sanchez into the final third, and Meza back to Chirino. Has the best chance thus far for San Carlos. Acosta. Ramirez. Off of Matarrita. Throws San Carlos. 6 winless in their league. This will be a goal kick in the end. And they conceded to NYCFC and Eber back in the 13th minute. That's the difference thus far.
Boy, San Carlos really hasn't gotten Aguiar in the game up top. Carlos Acosta has been invisible so far. Randy Chirino, one of their better players, has been nullified in the midfield. All the balls have been really skipping lines for San Carlos, getting over the top. Medina drawing a foul here.
Keaton Parks. I think a lot of fans in New York City are excited to see his progression this year.
Yeah, he'll be more settled now. He's got a contract there. NYCFC said it was important to lock him up, and they've done that. Now he gets a start first night for Ronnie Dyla. Yeah, it's a player they should be excited about. So good with the ball. He's got an eye for the game. He battles for 90 minutes.
Tinnerholm. Here comes Matriza, but that ball had already gotten out. Parks got that contract extension, multi-year deal inked in the beginning of January. It's interesting for Dyla because 90% of the scoring and the minutes return. It's not like this is a rebuild by any stretch. They're expected to compete for a trophy now. It's almost like Celtic.
He didn't take over a bad team. You know, we saw this in Atlanta, right, with Tata Martino leaving, De Boer coming in, and you wonder, well, you took over a team that won a championship.
Attack on through Chirino. Johnson able to act as the last line of defense.
I suppose when you look at it, you don't have to make a lot of changes. I think what you have to do is try and enhance, we talked about it earlier, enhance the formula that you have. Take the players that you have. What can you offer them to get better? What little wrinkle in the game? Not going to change all the players. It's not really what a manager wants to do. Now put your touches on the game. So far, so good for NYCFC. San Carlos still look a little bit out of rhythm. You know, it's a team, as we've been talking about, has struggled over the last 6 games, hasn't won.
Lucas Meza being walked back by the referee. Ring's got the count at 4 right now, times he's been fouled.
And Meza saying that's his first foul there. It's the first one on Ring, I guess he's saying.
Ensuing free kick goes well long.
And one thing with MLS teams coming into their first part of competition here, and we've seen this throughout so far, is at what point in the game do sort of the 90-minute legs go, right? You don't have 90-minute legs at the moment. Even though you've played preseason games, normally there's a whole bunch of substitutes in that game. This is really the first time, as Pemberton showing a little bit of skill for the goalkeepers there. This is really the first time that you've got to put it all out for 90 minutes with only 3 substitutes. Generally in preseason, it's unlimited, or you have 6 or 7 substitutes in a game. You know, one thing you can count on is if you have the ball, they always say you're a little less tired when you run, so keep it as much as you can.
Ball bouncing through. Aguilar has struggled to get many meaningful touches yet. Unable to hang on. Mena. Sanchez. The referee allows play to continue, and NYCFC clear that first line.
Well, that was dangerous there from San Carlos. They had 2 looks at it. Initial job well done by Anton Tinnerholm. As the ball was bouncing around, you had to actually find an angle to go and poke it away, and then a bit of a mess in the box, but they were able to clean it up.
Ever for Monterita flying up the left-hand side. Still an option, Matriza. Tinnerholm a little further in, Medina.
Nice
Medina
ball.
lofting header, just too high. And NYCFC closing it on a second, Alex Ring.
Boy, it's too easy here for Jesus Medina on this right-hand side, cutting in. No pressure here. Jose David Sanchez, and Mena can't crack down, and you can't allow, if you're defending, someone out wide to look up and pick out a run in the box. Alexander Ring with a good run. Here's that initial play here. Ooh, that's a tight one there. I think NYCFC may have gotten away with one there from that look.
Medina gets the return from Eber. There's Matrica again. The attack for NYCFC looking consistently better as this game's gone along. Cut back for Ring. Matrica trying to sneak along. He's denied. Sliced back. NYCFC slowed. Parks intercepted once again. This is Matrica. Tinnerholm. Eber scores. NYCFC make it two. Two critical road goals in the round of 16.
Well, Mike, I was just about to say this looks like a game that NYCFC can score a couple goals in. Because once they get into the final third, they have had their way here in this first half. St. Carlos has been in shambles defensively. And look at the patience here. Look how easy it is. Tough to defend when your arms are up in the air. Eber doesn't stop. And maybe didn't hit it perfectly here, but perfectly enough to end up in the back of the net. That ball's bouncing around. He doesn't get all of it, but steers it to that far post to make it 2-0. But this San Carlos side is in a lot of trouble if they're going to allow NYCFC to have so much space in that attacking third.
The Brazilian scores twice in his 2020 debut after a 15-goal, 22-game stint in MLS last year. Finalist for Newcomer of the Year. Eber and NYCFC, 2 goals up on San Carlos. And it's impossible to quantify how important a penalty could have been for San Carlos there.
Yeah, that's how the game changes so quickly. A minute before, we're talking about a potential penalty kick to maybe make it 1-1 and go down the other end. That was a nice ball played here.
Is there enough room to catch up to it? Yes, Matrica works in on Smith. Matrica sought out Medina. Mena tackled, play continued.
Good job of repressing here after the first attack, winning right back.
Tinnerholm a bit slow back to his feet and on his haunches. A free kick and Tinnerholm back on the ground. Keaton about 40 yards away was the player brought down.
Keaton Parks here makes a move. Like a bit of confusion there, and there's the foul in the end. And you see Parks touching it, Acosta clipping him.
Working short off the free kick. Short of Medina. Eber. Chance to break away, and Ebert.
Well, he's all over the score sheet now.
Might force Chirino to find a new jersey at halftime.
Eber doing some dirty work here, tracking back. You see the tug on the jersey, easy one for the referee, Cesar Ramos.
That's a quality shirt.
Didn't rip, huh?
Cross lifted this time, it's wayward. You like some of these MLS jerseys that are new this year?
I really am a fan of some of them, yeah. Oh. Are you not a fan? Is that what you're saying?
No, I have no comment.
I like them. I saw them up live at MLS Media Days in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and happen to like him.
Ever's yellow card announced. 2 goals and a yellow for him.
This is nicely done. Look at the numbers forward here NYCFC has. And just watching Eber and his runs, he's trying to get off defenders' shoulders, behind center backs, in between 2 of them. Little diagonal runs. Got a nose for goal, there's no doubt about that.
Although it's worth noting, a second yellow card before the final, should NYCFC advance out of this opening round, the round of 16, would result in a suspension for the following game. So that yellow card may have far-reaching consequences, even if they don't really impact this game.
Could mean something.
This is a long way away.
Jordan Smith fancying himself here. You can sense the frustration from San Carlos at home. A team not playing well. A team that looks a little disjointed. A manager that's under pressure. And you got an NYCFC side that, you know, hasn't played a competitive game. You would think that they can't find the rhythm. They've been much better in applying the things that they want to do before San Carlos has been able to do that in the game so far.
This is Chirino. Ton of room here. Aguilar is through and Johnson is there. Callens went in for a dangerous tackle, but came away cleanly.
I think Collins threw the attacker off just enough, and I'm watching Collins on the left side of your screen here, and he's come up with a bit of a limp.
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out. When you have a limp, you want your goalkeeper just chipping one into you on the bounce.
Sometimes you just don't know that.
Yeah, well, Sean Johnson just testing him out. He seems like he's doing okay now.
Chirino again. Well, if San Carlos really wants to look in the not-so-distant past, they can look to their game on Saturday. 3-3. Chirino. Chirino again off the tip by Mena. They trailed 3-0 at 63 minutes, scored 3 goals, including the game-tying goal in stoppage time from Julio Cruz.
And now the mission for NYCFC is to get in that dressing room, Mike, and still be 2-0 up here. And you get to the last couple minutes of the first half, and this is, again, you don't play a lot of 45 minutes at full pace. They haven't seen much of it. So now can you manage your legs a little bit, get into that dressing room, reorganize yourself, talk about the things you need to work on. For San Carlos, they're going to have to change something tactically, I think, on the defensive side. They've been okay in the attacking part of the field, but defensively, it's been too easy for NYCFC to get looks at goal.
By the way, the even less distant past, Saprissa Montreal last night. 2-0 up in the first half, inside 35 minutes, nearly precisely the same times the goals. And yet it finishes 2-2 as maybe Montreal ran out of gas a little bit.
Well,
so San Carlos has a lot to look forward to, even if they aren't quite Saprissa caliber.
That's what we're talking about. We talked about it last night with Montreal. 80th minute they give up a goal. 90th minute they give up a goal. The legs just didn't look good for the last 20 minutes, and Montreal was chasing it. And you know, when you're chasing the ball for extended periods of time, when you're not fully fit, there'll be a moment for NYCFC at the end of this one where the legs will get a little tired. Now it's how you manage it. The one thing Montreal couldn't do last night is exactly what NYCFC is doing now, is keep the ball. They were just chasing Saprissa all over the field.
And here's Eber looking for his hat trick goal. That's a bit too strong wide, but reverts back. And the shot is on, saved there by Pemberton.
And that was Matarrita making a run inside, and Pemberton had to be sharp.
Ramon Aguilar the other way.
And how about that defending by Chanot there, 1v1. Aguilar's got some speed and some pace.
Well, Chanot continues to look a bit labored. Tinnerholm fights through. Tinnerholm dropping this in toward the back post. Matriza.
He didn't get that ball perfect, but you could see exactly what Tinnerholm was trying to do. This play started 80 yards down the field. Good combination with Keaton Parks, and now they're in the attacking third. He was looking for that run at the back post and just mishit it.
Mana. Callens battling with Cruz. Aguilar joins in the box. Cruz on the turn. Cruz. That's going to be
they'll get on him here. Yeah, they'll get on him here for what he tries to do. Now he tries to cross this thing.
These are nervy moments for a manager. I mean,
No
just
doubt.
at the weekend, we're hearing rumors in Costa Rica about whether he's in or he's out. He mentioned post-game that the board very much behind him leading into that match, and down 3-0, I'm sure he's starting to wonder if his bags need to be packed by the time he's home.
Yeah, and you get in this competition here and you're at home, you get the first leg at home, and you expect things to go much better than they have, but credit to NYCFC. They have been the sharper of the two sides. But then, again, I go back to that discussion we've had about fitness. There's going to come a moment in this game where NYCFC will get tired.
Aber had no support in the middle of the field.
Right now, the two center backs can't figure out Eber at the moment. He's been able to get balls in behind.
Dragging through, it's Aguilar. Aguilar! Gorgeous finish! San Carlos, a critical goal right before stoppage time.
Exactly what NYCFC did not need here. And it's exactly what San Carlos needed, a simple ball over the top. Aguilar sets himself up with the first touch. And boy, he hits this one far post with a little bit of venom. There you see him in between Tinnerholm and Chanot. This ball bounces up nicely and quickly to that far post. Oh, he's got a little knuckle on that one. Sean Johnson can't get to it here. It bounces up about 6 inches off the ground. And he gets his laces through the middle of it here. And boy, does he hit that one. Not even a half a rotation on that one before it hits the ground, beating Sean Johnson to that far post.
Aguilar played for Kai in his native Panama most recently. 11 goals there, the domestic league, but equally important, 2 goals in Champions League in 2019 in 3 games. Make it 3 goals in his last 4 in Champions League. Halftime here, while San Carlos gets a crucial goal for their hopes, 2 road goals for NYCFC. This is a very good start to their 2020.
Yeah, and NYCFC just turned off for a second there. Credit to San Carlos and Aguilar for the great finish, but for me, NYCFC was certainly the better team in that first half. Let's see how they manage this second half moving forward.
45 minutes down, 45 to go. It's San Carlos trailing NYCFC 2-1 in the first leg of this round of 16 fixture.
Damas y caballeros, el primer tiempo ha terminado con el marcador de Asociación Deportiva San Carlos 1, New Jersey FC 2.
First half highlights. Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League round of 16, leg 1, San Carlos and NYCFC. San Carlos is in the midst of their season. At the outset, a chance or two that made it look like they could come back from 6 straight without a win.
Yeah, it took a little while for NYCFC to get into the game, but once they did in the final third of the field, they were pretty effective. Here you see the initial goal. Eber across from Matarita makes it 1-0 here. A nice run in between two center backs here. Good ball played out wide. You can see Eber sneaking in between. No recognition by the two center backs. He's first to it. He beats Pemberton to that near post. Just the start that Ronnie Dyla needed for his side. They started to grow into the game from here. They got better in the attacking third. They were able to turn a few balls over. Medina was dangerous down this right-hand side of the field. Just misses this one over the top. He's been really clean on the ball defensively. NYCFC didn't have many problems. That was one of them that came off a turnover. Torino with the shot over the top, and Johnson up to the task here. This was a tricky play here. We thought there could have been a penalty kick called on this one. NYCFC gets away with it here. Jose David Sanchez got fouled, and there's the second goal there. Ball gets played wide. Tinnerholm, an easy ball. San Carlos here defensively, you can see in shambles. You don't want to leave Eber open in the box. He didn't get it perfectly, but just enough to find the back post and the back of the net to make it 2-0.
That came in the 35th minute to go with his 13th minute goal, and Eber off and running in 2020, his second year, his first full year with the club. Then Aguilar really grew into the game. 35 minutes in, you said he hadn't really seen much of it, and he made up for it.
Yeah, he did, and NYCFC started to get a little leg here. Another good ball played over the top. Ever. Matarita, good save by Pemberton here. Then they go back down the field the other way. So Matarita has a look. Probably would have wanted to do better with that. Flores with the ball over the top, and Aguilar with just an outstanding finish to the back post. Nothing Sean Johnson could do here. It's not the way you wanted to go into the locker room if you're NYCFC. Probably wanted to be a little more organized defensively there. It was one ball over the top, and we talked about it early, Mike. This was the ball that has kind of troubled NYCFC. When you throw numbers forward, you leave space in behind, so credit to San Carlos for at least getting themselves back in the game. But for me, no doubt, NYCFC was the better team in the first half.
The goal in the 45th, 2-1 with 2 road goals for NYCFC over San Carlos and Alajuela, Costa Rica at the break. A look at first half statistics, and truthfully, NYCFC have more possession, but Tony, it felt purposeful, meaningful, and attacking.
Yeah, no doubt, and it was in dangerous parts of the field, and I think that's the most important part. It came not only through their build-up, but also the repress. When the ball turned over, they got it back, got back in that final third. Nice job by NYCFC.
NYCFC in the dressing room with a 2-1 lead in this round of 16 Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League game. Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League round of 16, leg one between San Carlos and NYCFC. It's the visitors from the United States ahead. Olympia and Seattle kicking off after this. New York City and San Carlos retaking the field in Costa Rica in Alajuela, which is about 2-hour drive from the home of San Carlos in Ciudad Quesada. With Tony Meola, former U.S. men's national team goalkeeper Mike Watts on hand. If you are San Carlos, you have a glimmer of hope because of what happened right before the half. How do you capitalize now?
Well, I think the one thing you got to do is you got to be more organized defensively. You have to figure out Aber up top. The Medina cutting in from the right-hand side for sure has been an issue for them. They haven't been solidified in the midfield. NYCFC has really run roughshod over them in the midfield here. So they've got to do a better job of dealing with the attacking part of NYCFC's game for sure. But we saw quickly at the end of the half, it doesn't take much for San Carlos to get forward and score goals.
NYCFC fans, San Carlos fans, fans from throughout Costa Rica, Ticos everywhere, excited about the return of Champions League tonight. As team in red, San Carlos will get the first touch of the second half. Goals in the 13th and the 35th from Eber. Orman Aguilar scored in the 45th. To counter Eber's 2 first-half goals. We're into the second half of play. NYCFC had 2-1 in the first leg. The second leg to come in Harrison, New Jersey next week. With those critical away goals still having tremendous value in this tournament.
Yeah, no doubt. NYCFC will be happy with that part of the game. Again, still first game of 2020. Still going to be a lot of things to work on. So far, so good. The debut of their new manager, Ronnie Dyla.
Brought down by Smith. Ahead to Ramirez. Ramirez again. He's had some teasing service thus far. Smith wandering forward. And it's worth noting, a loss and a draw, different results have different impacts on who hosts and who has to play away in the opening and second legs of future rounds. So not only do you want to leave with an advantage, maybe not just away goals, an actual win, because it could make a difference down the line for where you're hosting the second leg.
A little sloppy here early on for NYCFC. Get bailed out. Looked like a foul here on Julio Cruz.
Tinnerholm still writhing, grabbing for his leg.
Yeah, there you see Tinnerholm jumping over Cruz, but early pressure from San Carlos on NYCFC.
Johnson. Sands to ground.
Medina getting called for the foul here, coming in late. Before James Sands went for the ball here.
I asked James last year because he dealt with a broken nose that he suffered against Emelec years ago in international play. Broke his arm and his collarbone at different points last year. What was most difficult to play with, the cast or the mask? Said the cast was easier. Missed 4 games with that broken arm a year ago.
Having watched him grow up through the national team system, he's not a guy that's afraid to get into tackles.
Kept in by Sanchez.
It was offside called here.
It's funny with Sands. I asked John Hackworth, who coached him a bit in the youth national team setup, about that experience at Emelec. He spent time at Louisville City. Another look, and yeah, by a slim margin, right?
Yeah, nice job by NYCFC holding the line. I don't like high lines like that. It gives the goalkeeper so much room to have to come and collect the ball here, but in that case, they held the line very well.
Ramirez, it's Mena, and again, offside.
And again, a good job by NYCFC being organized. This ball actually gets deflected going in, and
for San Carlos, victims in their own words of stupid mistakes over the course of the last 6 matches, which have seen them plummet to 7th. Still only 3 points out of the top 4 places in Costa Rica. That'll get you into the playoffs at the end of the year.
yeah, it's been a poor run, and as we keep mentioning, 6 games in a row, you don't get results. You start to question some of the things that you're doing. Should you change?
Turnover in the back. Matriza, ring for Eber. Eber for his hat trick. Steered aside. This will pinball around.
What a save there by Pemberton.
They're pointing toward the spot. There was a handball to defend that away from the goal line.
Yeah, and maybe Jose David Sanchez, who's on the ground now. And it looks like what referee Cesar Ramos is calling here is a penalty kick for NYCFC. He may have a consultation here with his assistant referee, who may have had a different look, but the referee was certain. Eber here, nice save. There's a handball with his right hand behind him here. That's a good save, and right there's the handball. That likely bounces up for Medina to pounce on it at the back post, and he did stop it here. Maybe unfortunate for the defender. Eber's going to step up, try to get his hat trick here. That's tough on the defender to get that call against you.
Eber ready now. All the things he did do in his first season with NYCFC, he hasn't done this. Eber looking for his first NYCFC hat trick. Oh, he goes right back where the goalkeeper vacated. Beats Pemberton, 3-1 NYCFC.
Too easy here for Eber. I'm not quite sure what Menjivar, Pemberton, the goalkeeper, was doing here, but Eber sure did make it look easy. And here you see the initial call for the handball with the right hand. That's really a tough call on Jose David Sanchez, and Eber as cool as you like here. Just prior to that, Patrick Pemberton, the goalkeeper, had come from standing about a yard away from his right post. Either way, it didn't work. How about a night for Eber right now?
Change coming to try and turn the tide. Omar Brownie, the Panamanian who spent 10 games worth of time in Montreal last year, scored twice, comes on. Eber seeking ball, came up a bit short. I mean, Eber bouncing around a bit in Brazil, goes to Armenia, and then one step further in Europe. Chance now, ripping wide from Aguilar, who's looking for his second golazo.
This was not far off here by Aguilar. Yeah, you talk about Eber bouncing around at sides as we see the opportunity here. It doesn't miss by much. You get into a system that fits you. You get into a situation that you're comfortable in. You like the environment you're in. Everything changes.
Another change. This is Christian Martinez. Was at Saprissa the last 3 years. Called that a dream. Came on loan to San Carlos. Makes his third Champions League appearance.
Saliendo del partido, el número 77, Julio Cruz.
Eber header through Matrica. Another really exciting build-up for NYCFC.
Good patience here by NYCFC. Matrica down this left flank. No panic. Doesn't rush the play. Got around his defender, realized he didn't have enough numbers in the box. They pull it back, and now they start their build-up once again.
Sustitución para el equipo de San Carlos en el minuto 55, entrando al partido el número 16, Cristian Martínez. Saliendo del partido el número 6, Carlos Acosta.
So the captain, Acosta, came out a moment ago for Martinez. Brownie for Cruz. San Carlos has used 2 substitutions. Eber, who was here against Cruz Azul about a half a decade ago that Patrick Pemberton last played in Continental Club competition. There was a fight on the field, a 6-game suspension, which is stretched out over several editions of the competition. And finally, here he is. Ball lobbed in. Mena's through. Mena was onside. The ball back to Aguilar, short of the penalty spot, gets cleared for a corner.
Good recovery here by NYCFC. They looked like they were in danger here.
Martinez, another touch by Brownie. Ring widening out as Matrica on the opposite end. Short of Sands. Challenge in on Ramirez, advantage played. NYCFC, the second leading goal-scoring team in MLS last year in the United States. The #1 team in the regular season in the Eastern Conference. Looking for an elusive chance of advancing out of a two-legged affair. Haven't done that yet, but they're off to a fine start. 3 road goals away to San Carlos to begin the round of 16 in both teams' debut games in Concacaf Champions League. And a foul by Parks.
You mentioned Omar Brownie coming in the game here. Mostly operates in wide positions, cutting into the middle of the field here. Keaton Parks getting a piece of him for the foul, but he's a guy that can unlock you a bit just with one play. He's one of those types of players who can run by you. It's really not that intricate. Push and run and try and make something happen.
Tinnerholm backs in. Cross lifted toward Mena. Defensive header sends this off to the corner.
Good ball out by Matarrita. Matarrita can't control it there. Game is slowed down a bit. I think this plays into the hands of NYCFC at the moment. Save the legs for a few minutes here. They're sat back a little bit deeper than we saw in the first half. They'll be content with 3 goals on the road here to allow San Carlos to have the ball in these areas of the field.
And now San Carlos try to strike. Jordan Smith. Smith, that gets through to the penalty spot. Out to Brownie.
James Sands, what a tackle here in the box. Had to get the timing right as he's risking a penalty kick here. And look at this intervention here. It's really well done. He got a piece of Marco Mena, but after he had cleared the ball already.
Eber knocked from behind by Lucas Meza, the Argentine, who signed back in December for San Carlos. And one wonders, you talk about how Eber is so well versed in making life difficult for center backs. Alvaro Aguilar plays as a left center back, unavailable today after starting on the weekend. And Saborio, of course, would be on the other end, but a player who's had NYCFC's number a little bit before and is unavailable for injury as a center forward. So San Carlos not with a full deck. Matarrita. Matarrita continues and circles back. Brownie chopped him down.
Really well done again by Matarrita. Draws a foul. You think on the other end for NYCFC, Maxi Morales not at full strength at the moment. So they have some players as well. Tajuri Shradi, who we know over the years has been able to score goals. And they're still kind of working through where they are physically with this group. I think it's clear to see that Ronnie Dial is not going to change a heck of a lot. He'll add his touches to the game as we were talking about, but it's going to be a possession-based team, very talented side.
Now we're going set piece, clipped in. NYCFC has another, and it's a giant goal for this man. Alajuela rejoice. 4-1 NYCFC. Callan scores.
Oh, what a good ball played in here. Callan's the first to get to it. 4 road goals now for NYCFC in this competition. Defenders all over Callan's. If not a goal there, it's a penalty kick for me. Matarrita with the ball played in. Callan's first to it at right in the middle of the goal here. It's poor defending, must be said, by Marcos Mena. Lets his attacker get in front of him. All he can do is grab a hold, and Collins was just stronger in the end and just redirects it on goal. And nothing Pemberton can do here. Boy, what a display tonight from this NYCFC side.
First goal for Collins in international competition, the club level. Scally comes on And how about this moment for Joe Scally, the 17-year-old from New York, the second youngest behind Adu in 2018 when he signed for NYCFC in MLS history.
That's a good experience for the youngster. As you mentioned, 17 years old, getting an opportunity in international club competition.
Like what Anton Tinnerholm said, at the time last year he was 16. He's only 16. Give him some time. Ball launched across. By the way, for Callens, why so important? It's only his 4th goal for NYCFC. Big moment there. Meanwhile, a response from Marcos Mana. San Carlos refuses to go away. 4-2 in the 63rd.
Well, we talked about the game on the weekend being 3-0 down late in the game. They didn't give up. Here, there's some poor defending on this end of the field for NYCFC. A dangerous ball played in between two defenders, and Man is the first to get to it. Nicely done here by San Carlos. James Sands misses his mark. Doesn't seem to jump for the header here. Marcos Mena makes him pay. A little bit of a wild one going here.
Maxi Morales checks in. He's done with a calf injury. The little genius, as Ian Joy loves to call him, checks on. And Eber out. Tati Castellanos comes on. So NYCFC has used all 3 of their substitutes.
Well, need some fresh legs here, especially in the attacking third.
Nice initial ball and cracked across. It's Matriza. Matriza sends it wide of the post. Has really affected the game today, Alexandru Matriza.
It really has. Both of the wingers, Medina as well, I'd throw in there, has been very, very good. Now you see the inclusion of Morales. Gives him a different dimension. That all started with a pass into the middle third of the field by Joe Scally. A little touch and go. Again, you wonder if there's that moment in the game, Mike, where NYCFC starts to get a little leggy.
Pushed forward, Matriza again. Ring further. Castellanos denied. San Carlos trying to break away. There's a yellow card for that tactical challenge by Castellanos. Turned over and poorly in the back. 3v2 as NYCFC power into the final third. Medina, no further. And the slide by Morales takes it right back for NYCFC. The counter press provided quite a bit for NYCFC at times.
Yeah, once again, this has been on all night for NYCFC. Clearly an objective for the group. When the ball turns over, first 2 or 3 seconds to continue to put pressure on, try and get numbers forward. You know, when you possess it long enough and you get numbers forward, you have players close in that final third of the field, compact, so when it does turn over, you're not all that far away from the ball. They've done a really good job in that area, but this is really one of the first true build-ups through the middle third of the field we've seen from San Carlos the entire match.
Brownie. A corner here. Now, with away goals as they are, San Carlos would need a 3-goal win next week to find themselves through, or they need to get a 2-goal win with 4 or more goals scored. cross wound through, and one goal here could really change that. This quite close from Martinez.
You know, the start of this corner kick here, prior to the corner kick, it was Joe Scally and Omar Brownie. It'll be a good challenge for the youngster. Omar Brownie, if he goes on that left-hand side of the field. Joe Scally, a good 1v1 defender.
Still more than 20 minutes to go for San Carlos to put a dent in this deficit. Sands. Morales. Castellanos couldn't handle it. Otherwise, he could have been through.
That was a good entry pass by Maxi Morales there.
And this lobbed chip all the way down to Pemberton. Problem for San Carlos continues. They've allowed the 11th most goals in a 12-team league in Costa Rica, 20. They've given up 4 tonight, including 3 to Eber. NYCFC led 2-0. 3-1, and now 4-2. Floated beyond Aguilar.
Oh, boy.
Johnson sort of ducked down there, and NYCFC all of a sudden has a bit of a problem here, inadvertently.
I hope this one isn't too bad here. You see Chanot and Sean Johnson. Trying to pull up a little bit. Sean Johnson going forward, and oh boy, that's a tough fall for Chanot.
Well, Maxime Chanot, 32 starts in MLS a year ago. That was the highest he had accumulated in a year going back to 2015-2016. A 30-year-old center back from France. Hugely valuable. Being healthy, a major step forward for him and NYCFC.
Yeah, that was just an odd play here.
And if you're Ronnie Dyla, you've got an interesting proposition with your 3 substitutes, which he has used all 3 now. Do you want to hold on to one for later and give yourself a little bit of breathing room if you need it, although Chanot up and walking. Solis comes on for San Carlos, replaces Randy Chirino. Or do you use 3 with 20 minutes to go to make sure you're in position to get it to the finish line?
Well, he's used his 3 now, so he's made his mind up, and he'll need Collins on the field. Let's just hope he's okay here. Really an odd, just a weird play.
Callan's going to be tasked with just a little more duty there, although they could drop Sands in. Looks like that's how they'll begin here after the injury to Maxime Chanot. Ring. Terrific ball up the channel. Morales.
If the referee eventually comes back to Aguilar taking out Joe Scally down that right-hand side.
Laid off Ring. Morales had sprinted through, wanted the return. And they will bring it back here. Ring gets taken out, and a yellow card issued to Mena, who picked up the goal back in the 63rd, made it 4-2.
Yeah, it's a tough tackle here. He follows through. Ring first to it. There was a foul behind this play as it started on Joe Scally down the right-hand side. I believe it was Aguilar that took him out. Scally looks to be okay. He's got a little bit of a limp.
Damas y caballeros, su atención por favor. Tarjeta amarilla fue mostrada al jugador con el número 14, Marco Julián Mena.
Ring, Morales, or Medina.
71.
How does Medina bounce back this year? Will he get a crack at this? Morales, as crafty as they come, or Ring, the captain?
Well, Medina hasn't taken himself out of the picture tonight. He's been very good.
It is Morales. Well, and Castellanos is on the ground with his arm up.
Well, fans don't like it. Referee didn't like it.
A vocal and vibrant section of NYCFC supporters making their way down to join, let's say, a unique mix of fans in Costa Rica, in that San Carlos is located about 80 kilometers to the north of Alajuela and Alajuelense Stadium. And as a result, really it's fans of Costa Rican football as much as anything that made their way out. All the proceeds from tickets going toward foundation to help with pediatric cancer tonight. That's why the yellow pinned ribbons on all the jerseys for San Carlos.
Well, if you just came out because you're a fan of the game, you've seen a pretty good one here for 73, 74 minutes.
Sanchez again came over to Ring. And that is a dynamite challenge by Meza, and the return.
Tackles flying all over the place in the midfield here.
Chipped over the back line. This was offside. Well, San Carlos in desperate need of at least holding on to this result as is, but another goal could be absolutely massive. Is it coming here? Looking for the back post. Mena misfired.
Again,
this will be a corner deflection.
Again, just a ball over the top that the defense doesn't deal with. And in the end, Marcos Mena can't steer it on frame. Nice job by Chanot to get a piece of it, help it steer it wide. It's been problematic tonight, right from the start for NYCFC.
Corner cracked, header, save Johnson. The denial of Solis, and the follow-up bounces calmly to Johnson.
You always wonder with substitutions, Solis comes in the game. Does somebody miss a mark? Did you get the assignments wrong? You've made now 3 subs, 6 subs total. Did someone maybe not get it right? But Solis had a clear look at goal. Sean Johnson had to be sharp.
Another foul. Cesar Ramos laying down the rules. A look at that corner.
Yeah, there's a lot of players in there. Hard to tell who had the assignment there, but nonetheless, had that one gone in, the second attempt may have been called offside, but the first one, clear header on goal, and right at Sean Johnson. Good height for him to deal with it, be able to see it, push it away.
Throw for NYCFC. Seattle Sounders and Olympia, the final game to open these first legs of the round of 16 in Champions League. Cruz Azul survived a scare in Jamaica against Portmore United for the opener. Atlanta United and Motagua finished level. Motagua had the opener of that one. Joseph Marcinez the response.
It didn't take long for him, just a minute later. Good response from Atlanta.
Good touch by Morales, allowing Castellanos through. Castellanos peppers Pemberton again.
Castellanos looked like he had rounded the ball to try and bend it into that far post. Didn't hit it right. You could have Morales making a run.
Elsewhere in the round of 16, Leon over LAFC, the lone Mexico-United States matchup in this opening round. Throw for San Carlos with a lot of extracurricular chat.
Well, it's a silly yellow card here from Matriza. He's going to have to watch himself now.
In the end, it'll end up being a free kick. May have been part of the discussion. Now Matriza, the yellow card, and Chanel goes through hard on the challenge of Solis.
It's getting a little chippy here. Omar Brownie lining up like he's going to have a go from this distance.
It'll need to be perfect to beat Sean Johnson from here. Omar Brownie off the two-player wall. And a stinger. Brownie lines it up again, and Brownie this time, what a finish! Omar Brownie built for this competition. 4-3. San Carlos pulls another back.
Well, you just said, Mike, that the free kick needed to be perfect. That was not perfect. This, my friend, was perfect from distance. Boy, you have a look here. Comes through a couple of defenders. Sean Johnson, maybe. You see him trying to peek around the corner to his right. That's a good view from behind Sean Johnson. As he peeked to his right, Omar Brownie was winding up and buries it to the far post. We keep talking about, do the legs get a little heavy for NYCFC? They seem to be at the moment. What a strike from Omar Brownie to make it 4-3.
Foul, free kick, Brownie same position. Brownie scored twice in Champions League in 2019, both against Toronto FC. One would imagine that's part of why Montreal gave him a good look and onto the Panamanian national team last year, including a cap against the USA. Gosh, it's an odd scenario not playing in Ciudad Quesada, but the fans who did come out may well explode in a moment.
I wonder who's going to take this one here.
We've got two options, but I think Sean Johnson's well aware. It's Ramirez, the other player behind the ball.
He is the other option for sure. He's been on free kicks the entire night. It's a four-man wall here. Of course, with the new rules, no opposing attacking player can be planted next to the wall.
It simply couldn't be, could it? Brownie. No, it's Ramirez! Johnson gets down with a phenomenal one-handed stop.
Well, we were wondering who it was. Ramirez was the other option here, and gets it up, gets it over, gets it down. Sean Johnson here, outstretched down to his right.
Corner with the header dropping down. Johnson did enough to keep it out, but the flag was up. It was offside.
Well, you see this a lot around the world right now in corner kicks. The defending team, their defenders will get as high as the initial ball. So as this gets pushed out, you see that back post, very well done. The one left behind is Maxime Chanot, maybe a yard behind, doesn't get in line with the initial header, which would leave everyone that's going forward in an offside position, but you're seeing that quite a bit around the world. A little nervy right now for NYCFC.
Castellanos. Ramirez is there. To remind fans, Cruz Azul came from behind to win. Atlanta United came from behind to draw. Saprissa came from behind by 2 to draw Montreal. Alianza came from behind against Tigres and won. And Club America came from behind shockingly against Comunicaciones last night to draw. This round has been made up of wild results.
This is where the lungs and the legs this part of the season start to get a little bit heavy. You start feeling it here.
Corner toward Castellanos. And Mena the clearance. And Ramirez able to hang on. Brownie trying to continue his run. Progression snuffed out. Throw NYCFC.
Boy, Ring just doesn't stop working, does he? All over the field. This time gets to the sideline here. He had nothing in it. Omar Brownie trying to make something out of nothing. Now it's interesting to see how NYCFC manages this one. 7 or 8 minutes to go. I would think there'll be a little bit of stoppage. We had the Chanot incident where he went down for a little while. A couple substitutions, a couple goals. Say we're going to see about another 10 minutes at least.
Slipped ahead, Scally. And here comes San Carlos. Brownie couldn't latch on. Brownie, Sands didn't commit a foul, and so on go NYCFC. Matriza pushed down a second time, and this time fair challenge.
Yeah, I think the referee is, well, he did find his whistle here. I was about to say he swallowed it for a few minutes. He's letting them play here. That's the end result, the final call he made.
Brownie. Brownie slides in and knows he got him. Collins. Incredible for Brownie, isn't it? Plaza Amador, San Miguelito, Churrillo, Kai. Montreal had an option to buy, cast away again. Here he is in San Carlos, and
I think he's
all
one
over
of those.
the field.
He's one of those players that probably frustrates you because you see what he can do, you see the talent that he has, but does he bring it game in and game out? I think that's the most frustrating thing for managers. Manager wants to be able to trust his players, you know, and he probably is given that impression sometimes.
Ball dropped down, and Medina finally deemed.
And Omar Brownie's probably given the impression, as I was saying, that he can't be trusted game in and game out.
Yeah.
But boy, when he's on, he's on. He's fun to watch, there's no doubt.
You and I know enough coaches who watch these games religiously looking for the next diamond in the rough.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he's a talent. There's no denying that.
It's Castellanos. Pursuit by Brenes.
This is shocking there's not a foul here. I thought Castellanos had gotten good body position. And I'm not sure Brenes touched the ball before it went out of play. Well, they're going to have to fight through this NYCFC. They do have their 4 away goals, which I think they would have taken any day of the week. And now the physical part of this one to close it out here.
Pemberton backs in. Pemberton has defeated the Galaxy, defeated Club America twice, drawn Cruz Azul. No lack of players who've been there and done that. Brownie tries to test Sean Johnson the other way. And with 4 minutes to go in stoppage time, NYCFC clinging to their 4-3 advantage. NYCFC in their first international tournament. San Carlos has not been in Champions League yet. Castellanos with the press. Back, Morales.
Oh, Morales here. What quality, huh? Kills a little bit of time in the corner here. Doesn't rush things. Frustrates Jordan Smith.
Pounding into the penalty area. Look at this from Castellanos. And Medina, watch as this flowed out. This will be a corner. Defensive header by Jose David Sanchez. Come on.
Well, Castellanos. So Aguilar tried this in the first time. Sorry, Cruz tried that in the first half. Down the right-hand side for San Carlos. Didn't come off. That one, a little better result.
Imitation, the greatest form of flattery, I suppose. Corner for NYCFC. And a foul, and San Carlos takes possession with 2.5 minutes and what could be a fair amount of stoppage time. The highest scoring game in this round thus far. The 7th game of the Champions League calendar in 2020.
We've both run out of room here in our score sheets. We'll be filling the back of the sheet out now moving forward. I guess if you hang your hat on something, if you're Luis Marin, who we've spoken about is in troubles, it's 2 games in a row now, your side hasn't given up when they certainly could have.
Mitri. Back heel play through the legs didn't work out there. NYCFC in control again. San Carlos next Wednesday night, then away to Columbus, away to Toronto to start their 2020 MLS season.
A nice ball played out here by Sean Johnson.
Back to Smith, sets up Mena. There's room out here. Brownie. Brownie could have a go, instead flicked it through. Slowed short of midfield, Aguilar. Matriza. NYCFC had a chance to possess out majority of the remaining time before a stoppage.
Yeah, and he wanted a little more direct ball played in. Just a bit of confusion between 2 players.
Morales takes over and plays this across. Impressive control. Ring. Widening out again. It's Morales. Morales goes down, penalty. Penalty for NYCFC at the outskirts of stoppage time.
We saw Morales setting this one up as the ball gets played in by Scally, gets deflected to the top of the box, and you can see absolutely what Morales was trying to do here, just a dink over the defender. He knew that he was coming hard. And there's the little dink, rides the tackle, keeps his legs down, and draws the penalty kick. Morales is not trying to get out of the way here. He's trying to ride this tackle. That's exactly what he was looking for. And he'll step up here to try and put this one away for good tonight.
Pemberton was inches from his post and then started moving toward the middle as Eber struck his penalty back in the 52nd minute. One wonders if similar theatrics are coming. Well, that's an early guess that, yes, probably they are.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what he was trying to accomplish on the first one, because then you've got your feet moving as the guy's about to take a shot. You've got to get set once again. This time, well, he's going back there, it looks like. Let's see if it works the second time around. He's starting in the goal here.
This is
all new to me.
This is some kind of psychological question here. You could earn a master's degree for this. All right, here we go. NYCFC looking for their 5th, and it's Maxi Morales. Save Pemberton. Follow is in. Mitriza. And NYCFC have a 2-goal lead in stoppage time and 5 road goals.
Well, and those away fans saw something special tonight. 5 away goals. Mitriza quickest to the rebound here. Good save by Pemberton, must be said. Here's the initial foul for the penalty kick. Maxi Morales riding the tackle. Pemberton this time starts in the middle of the goal. Does go a little bit early. Mitriza first one to it on the rebound here. You can see how far off the line Pemberton is. Not a great penalty kick by Maxi Morales, but a good finish.
And at this stage now, NYCFC have led for 80 of the 93 or so minutes played in Alajuela. And now maybe a bit more loose NYCFC chasing after the ball. Tony, we are a long way away from seeing the final product of NYCFC, but in day one under Ronnie Deila, there's a lot to like about what they did, and one has to imagine going into the second leg they'll be quite confident as well.
There's a lot to build on here, no doubt, but keep in mind, we talked about it from the start. This is a team that finished first in the Eastern Conference. It's not a team that's gone through a complete overhaul, so I'm not surprised by the fact that they've performed in this manner. Right, we still wanted to get an idea of what Ronnie Deila was going to do with this group. He hasn't changed a heck of a lot. We'll see some tweaks throughout the season, maybe some tactical changes in certain situations, but a very positive start. If you're an NYCFC fan, you're happy with tonight. Maybe defensively, they've got to keep things a little bit tighter. We know that. This is a pretty high line here. But again, a lot of things to build on. It's always been a very good attacking side.
And the ball played over the top and not nearly good enough from Solis. And his stoppage time about to close out. San Carlos will need to go away because of this 5th goal for NYCFC. And looks like Pemberton may be a bit beyond his line.
He may have been, yeah. I suppose you're better there than starting in the goal, which seemed like he was going to do. But, again, Mitriza finishes and gets that 5th one.
San Carlos will need 5 road goals and a 2-goal margin, or a 3-goal margin of victory of any kind next week to beat NYCFC in the round of 16. What a moment for New York City Football Club. Welcome to international football. 5-3 winners, nearly leading tip to tail in Champions League against San Carlos.
Well, it started early in the 13th minute and ended late, but 5-3, as you mentioned here. Some good stuff by NYCFC. Fun night for those fans.
For Tony Miola, our entire team, Mike Watts saying so long. We'll see you next Wednesday. NYCFC a winner over San Carlos.
o menos.
¿Habla portugués?
Un poco, un poco.
Sí.
¿Puedes hacerlo en portugués?
Sí, sí.
Ok, perfect.
Tranquilo.
Sim.
Pode falar portunhol, tranquilo.
Ok. Você acha que a série está terminada ou você acha que todavia falta um pouco mais?
Sim, não está terminada. Acabou o primeiro tempo. Agora na próxima semana temos a partida muito importante em Nova York. E temos o segundo tempo, temos que estar focado, porque vai ser um jogo difícil, eles vão ir com tudo. A equipe deles é uma boa equipe, mas hoje nós jogamos muito bem e temos resultado positivo.
Que tão importantes são os 3 gols de hoje?
Estou muito contente, porque foi a primeira partida do New York City na Champions League, a minha primeira partida aqui também, e o meu primeiro hat-trick com a camisa do New York City. E estou mais feliz ainda por ter ajudado a minha equipe a sair com resultado positivo.
Foi o primeiro partido dessa temporada. Como está o time?
Ainda precisamos de alguns ajustes, claro, é novo treinador, é um novo ano, a primeira partida, temos ainda que encaixar algumas coisas, mas esperamos que nessa semana trabalhada a gente podemos ajustar o que falta e fazer uma boa partida na próxima semana lá em Nova York.
Obrigado.
Muito obrigado. Fala bem português.
Obrigado, cara. ¿Qué tan doloroso es esta derrota? No tanto por la diferencia de goles de 2 goles, sino por los 5 goles que usted recibe. Yo no sé si en su carrera usted había recibido tantos goles.
Bueno, primero que nada, muy buenas noches y sí, dolorosa la derrota de la manera en la cual se presenta, pero bueno, aquí la verdad es que hablé con los compañeros ahí en la media cancha y dijimos de que esto todavía no ha terminado. Vamos a ir a Nueva York a hacer la hombrada. Estoy confiado en mis compañeros y sé de que vamos a hacer un buen partido allá en Nueva York.
¿Cree que existe una diferencia amplia entre los dos equipos o no? ¿O no es tanto como se vio en el marcador?
Diferencia, no hay una diferencia tan amplia como tal vez muchas personas pueden creer a pesar del marcador. Si vemos y analizamos fríamente las